shocking development in a high-profile case. Bryan Kohberger's confession stuns those who knew him. When friends of Bryan Kohberger heard about his recent guilty plea for the tragic November 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students, they were left reeling. They had known Kohberger, who admitted to the brutal stabbing since childhood in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. To them, this turn of events was almost impossible to grasp. "I can't even lie, I kind of spiraled yesterday," Casey Arntz, a close friend, confided in a text to the Idaho Statesman. "Did he always have such dark thoughts? Could he have ever wished harm upon me or my friends? Were we just fortunate because we knew him personally?" Growing up, Casey and her brother Thomas spent countless hours with Kohberger in the close-knit community nestled near the New Jersey border. They spent days gaming indoors or exploring the wilderness together. However, as Kohberger faced struggles with drugs during high school, their paths began to diverge. Although he eventually overcame a heroin addiction, their contact became sporadic, making his arrest in late 2022 all the more shocking. From the awkward, observant teen they remembered, Kohberger had transformed into a suspect in a harrowing crime that affected their tight-knit home area. The 4 victims, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were each fatally injured on that tragic night at their off-campus residence in Moscow, Idaho. The court disclosed that each was subjected to multiple stab wounds, a harrowing account shared by Latah County prosecutor Bill Thompson. Upon Kohberger's plea, which admitted to the brutal act using a fixed-blade knife purchased via Amazon in March 2022, the revelation struck shockwaves around those who knew him. Kohberger had transported the knife to Washington State University with him, where he enrolled in a PhD program shortly before the fatal incident. His admission to 4 charges of first-degree murder and 1 of felony burglary took place to avoid the looming possibility of a death penalty, and guaranteed a life sentence without parole or the option to appeal. Sentencing is expected on July 23rd. Even those who knew Kohberger from his school years found it difficult to comprehend the reality of his actions. Donna Yosviak, his high school guidance counselor, hoped for the surviving family's resilience and for the victims' relatives to eventually find some measure of closure. As a society, we may never fully grasp the motivations behind these murders, nor understand if Kohberger feels any remorse for his violent actions. A turning point, acceptance of responsibility. For Jack Bayless, another old friend, Kohberger's courtroom admission left little room for doubt about his involvement. "You wouldn't admit to such a crime unless you truly did it," he emphasized. To him, this choice not only shattered the hopes of a newfound future for his friend, but also hinted at a darker curiosity that might have taken hold of Kohberger's mind, an interest in understanding the psychology behind murder. Perhaps he wanted to experience it firsthand, to write about what it feels like, to understand the mind of a killer, Bayless speculated. As they came to terms with the lengthy legal process, Casey and Thomas Arntz found solace in Kohberger's acceptance of responsibility. They acknowledged the ongoing pain for the families affected by the tragedy and hoped for a measure of peace as the case drew to a close. "He's going to spend the rest of his life behind bars," they reflected. "Let him deal with the consequences inside. A community's long road to healing." After the court's order restricting public commentary remains in place, the University of Idaho expressed heartfelt support for the victims' families, emphasizing the university's enduring purpose and solidarity since the life-altering event. In Moscow, the city's leader voiced hope that the resolution would facilitate healing for all involved in this heart-wrenching chapter. At Washington State University, where Kohberger had once been a criminology student, the sentiment echoed a collective mourning and empathetic outreach. "Our thoughts are with those affected, and we haven't more to add," the school concluded. One question still lingers in the minds of many, including the victims' families. Why did Bryan Kohberger choose to take the lives of 4 young people, forever changing so many lives, including his own? For Casey Arntz, who has found herself wrestling with her grief, this lingering query feels particularly pressing. "I wasn't as close to him as others were, yet we spent time together and had conversations," she reflected. "All I want to ask him is, why did you do this? What drove you to take the lives of 4 innocent people?" It's a question that echoes in the hearts of all those touched by this tragedy.